Okay, part two. So this family member or relative is heavy in denial about how toxic and abusive their childhood was. Like a very traumatic childhood. And they know for a fact that they're, because I'm channeling different energies, they know for a fact that like their sibling was very, very abusive. Or this family member knows for a fact that their parent was, if it's a parent that it is, was very, very abusive. And what's happening is that this family member that is heavy in denial, they don't want to have to face how horrific their childhood actually was or how their life was by dealing with this parent or this sibling of theirs. They don't want to have to face how much trauma they've actually been through because their personality, a lot of their personality really is not their entire personality, because they've been able to move on with life and, you know, become different, become better, but they still have certain qualities about themselves within their personality that are a trauma response, that are very abusive, that are a repeat of what was done to them or what they have witnessed. This family member has witnessed a lot of abuse at the hands of their parent or at the hands of their sibling. And there's a lot probably like is an older sibling. So because they've witnessed a lot of this abuse and they saw how horrific it was, and they remember how scared they felt, how just negative that they felt, they don't want to go back to that dark place. Oh, baby. They don't want to go back to that dark place. But baby, you're gonna have to face it eventually. So you can keep going ahead and calling me crazy, calling me disrespectful, calling me immature, calling whatever you want to call me in the fucking book. But you and I both know how abusive he was. So quit fucking playing with me. And quit fucking talking shit about me to your fucking spouse. And quit fucking over here trying to keep me away from my nieces. You know you're wrong. But you know what? Fine. If y'all gonna do that to me, fine. Fine. If you want to close the door on this relationship, fine. I will move on with my life. Whenever you all need me, you know where to find me. Okay, continue. So what happens is that this family member, they don't want to have to face the trauma that they've been through, because then they have to rethink their whole life. They have to look back at their life and they have to realize that their childhood was not as what they had tried to claim it as. You see, they think that if they can just say that everything was fine and say that they had a good childhood and say that everything was fine, that they think that their mind is gonna believe it. But they're dealing with a battle between their soul and their flesh here. Their flesh is saying one thing while their soul feels another. So they are at battle with themselves. Imagine you saying, they are basically saying something while they are lying to themselves. They are in their own internal conflict. And because they are conflicting within their own emotions, your truth is triggering to their internal conflict. Your truth is triggering to the denial that they are in, because they want to live comfortably in a lie because they're afraid to live in their truth. So your truth triggers them, because it's like, if you all came from the same household and you talk about how you have been abused and you've gone through so much abuse, a lot of abuse that you have witnessed, that everyone in the household had to endure, then it's going to make them have to relook at what their childhood was like. And because they're not willing to do so, they're choosing to stay in denial because it's easier, because they feel it's safer. That's why they feel so bothered by you speaking your truth, because they know deep down that there is so much truth to what you're saying. But because they're in denial and they've convinced themselves otherwise, they want to stick to the script. They want to stick to their story. They want to stick to their narrative. And your truth is contradicting their narrative. your truth is contradicting the lie that they are telling themselves. So they are, of course, going to be uncomfortable with your truth because they have gotten so comfortable in their lies that the truth seems blasphemous, that the truth seems like a lie when the truth is actually the truth. Have they gotten to a point where they believe their own lies? No, they don't believe their own lies. They know deep down that they're lying to themselves, but they are so deceptive and so manipulative with their words that they're doing everything in their power to try to convince themselves and convince others that they are right. They know for a fact that they need other people to be on board with them and to side with them. That's why they're using this triangulation. That's why they are, telling these lies to other people and conjuring up these people to believe their lie so that they can collectively together contradict your truth. But the thing is, the people that they are telling these lies to did not know them when they were a child. This is could be a spouse, or this could be whomever it is they're talking to, or this could be other family members. And so some of them did not know them when they were a child and wasn't around to witness all of this abuse that was happening. For others, they were around, but they didn't witness all of the abuse that went on behind closed doors. Because even if they were to, other family members, other relatives weren't really around to witness all of the abuse because this toxic sibling or this toxic parent would withhold from being abusive while other relatives or other people were around at the house. They waited for other people to leave the house for them to really, do their abuse. So while other relatives were at the house, other family members, other people were, other friends or whatever, were at the house, they weren't abusive. They were putting on the mask. They were pretending that everything was fine. So that way, it's if people weren't really around to witness it, it's really their word against yours. So a lot of these other people that they are conjuring up are believing their narrative and they're believing their lies because these other people are not even aware that what they're telling them is a lie. These other people that they have, their flying monkeys that they have to help, fight against you, these flying monkeys are not even realizing that they've been lied to by this family member about this toxic family member. Because the family member here is trying to hide what has really happened. It's trying to protect this toxic family member, this toxic parent, this toxic sibling. They're trying to protect this main abuser of the family because, one, they're afraid of this abuser. They're afraid of upsetting this abuser. They're afraid of not siding with this abuser because they don't want to be abused by the abuser. That's what I'm saying. They know how abusive this sibling, this older sibling, or this parent is, but because they're so afraid of them, they'd rather just oblige and comply and conform and play whatever role they need to play so that they don't have to be abused, so that they don't have to catch the wrath, so that they can be safe. Really, this family member here, they care more about their safety than they do you and your feelings. So it's they would rather throw you under the bus if it means to keep them safe from that abuser. They would rather throw you to the wolves and have you around this abuser if it means to keep them safe so that they don't have to deal with the abuser, but you do. You see, they don't care. That's what I'm saying. They know how abusive this person is, this parent, this sibling is. They know how abusive they are, but they don't want to have to deal with the abuse. So they would rather manipulate you and deceive you and try to trick you and coerce you into being around this abuser so that you are the one that takes all of the punches and you take all the hits from this abuser so that they don't have to. And it's very cowardly because instead of them being confident and courageous enough to face that abuser and face that abuser head on with locking eyes with them and don't take your eye off the target, Instead of them courageously facing their abuser, they'd rather cowardly avoid the abuser and then just throw somebody else to deal with it. It's like, get somebody else to do it. And they want you to have to do it so that they don't have to. Part 3.